Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and in today's video, I'm going to explain why Digibyte is setting up to DigiPUMP. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon for notifications, and drop me a comment. I love engaging with others. You can find me on Twitter, you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on TradingView, and even Instagram. One word, Crypto Bull God. Just a quick disclosure that none of what I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply looking to educate and to help others. We're all big boys and big girls, so we all can make our own personal financial decisions. With that being said, let's get into it. Pattern recognition, pattern recognition. This is a chart that I have shared on a few live streams. This is a 2-week chart of Digibyte. One of the most beautiful things about Digibyte, besides the market structure that is presented within this chart, is that it has a lot of historical data. You know, a lot of crypto projects that you guys speak to out there and that you're real passionate about, they've been around for like a year, 2 years, 3 years tops, okay? This has price data going all the way back to 2014. It's like 8 years. We have more than 8 years of price data. And if you really want to start it around 2015, okay, we have just about 8 years of price data, but regardless, there's a lot of things here that we can decipher from the chart, okay? Now, why do I say pattern recognition? You can see at the 1, 2, 3, and 4, we basically have downwards sloping resistance, a move up, downward sloping resistance, a move up, downward sloping resistance, move up, and now we have downward sloping resistance. The other thing to draw your attention to, which isn't as important because it would be unrealistic to assume that this upwards vertical ascending line would hold as support, as we have held this line as support dating back to the beer virus crash back in March of 2020. We've since broken below this ascending line of resistance. Again, nothing that I'm super worried about. It's more of an opportunity to accumulate at very low levels, okay? Now, on this chart, the other thing I'd like to point out, now the green circles, what are we signifying here? Well, if we look at the RSI, when the purple line, which is the RSI, is above the moving average, which in this case is the simple moving average, 23 is what the line represents, 23 periods. When the purple moves above the orange, and we have a MACD positive cross above zero, we have seen massive moves in the price, and that's what I'm showing here, denoted by the green arrows, okay, along with what's going on in these two price indicators. You can see on the 2-week, we're starting to get our head above here. The purple is starting to get above the orange. We still have some legwork. We still have some legwork to do on the MACD because while we're positive, we need to get above this trigger line, which is all the way up here at zero. So this 2-week candlestick is actually set to close, yes, this coming Sunday, right? So if we make some bullish progress this coming week, we can expect this MACD to get a lot higher towards zero, and we could expect a cross here. So this is one thing to watch for in this chart. And historically, the other thing I should point out, if it's not obvious, is once we break the descending resistance, that's when we start to DigiPUMP, okay? So you can see we still have a little bit of work to get up here, but once we break, historically, we've had a very large move to the upside. Now let's take a look at the 3-day. If you caught my live stream a few days back, you will note that I spoke to several altcoins that were setting up, had great technical setups for a big pump in the shorter to intermediate time frame. Well, a few days later, look what we got today. Digibyte was up as much as 35 to 37% today, okay? This is an 11-month-long bullish divergence on the 3-day, okay? We're in this downward channel. And we're also, the gray line here signifies the fact that we were also in a falling wedge, although this candlestick is set to close today. So I think one of the more bullish things we could expect if we close up in this area, we come back here, okay, we back test around this area, and then we continue to move up. So that's what I would watch for in the 3-day. But the 3-day is telling us, hey, you know, even though price has been moving down, the strength behind those price movements has been getting weaker and weaker. There's been seller exhaustion, right? And we're starting to see that potentially play out right now. Now, the other thing I want to point out here, I have a red band of resistance on the RSI around 62 to 63. So I would watch when the 3-day comes up to this area. That historically has been an area of resistance. When we've broken through, we've seen massive moves to the upside. So we'll have to see on the 3-day how the RSI interacts with 62 to 63 area. Now, the other thing I want to point out on this chart, okay, and I've moved the price indicators over here. You can see, excuse me, the price levels off to the left. There's one more chart I want to take a look at, but before we do that, I've noted some key areas of resistance I need you guys to watch for, okay? We're sitting at around a penny. We're sitting at around a penny. This thing can move very quickly. I just tweeted out the other day that I anticipate Digibyte by 2023 breaking back up into the top 90. Absolutely, okay? I feel very convicted about that. These are the key areas of resistance I would watch for. 1.6 cents, 2.7 cents, 3.8 cents, and 5 cents. Once Digibyte starts to clear 5 cents, I'm going to go back in time here. Once we clear this area, okay, this top line right here, let's turn it orange so you can really see it. Once we clear this area, look at how much price action is above 5 cents. Not a whole lot, right? So once we start to clear 5 cents, we get candle body closes above 5 cents, we should start to feel uber bullish for further digipumps, okay? Now, the last chart I want to look at to connect all the dots together here, and again, I'm looking at a 2-month chart on Digibyte because there's so much historical data on Digibyte. It's one of the most beautiful things about it. Not only are the fundamentals, if you study the fundamentals, something that are very attractive to invest in, not only is the bullish structure within the chart very attractive, but the third point that's attractive about this project is the fact that we have so much price data. So this is a 2-month chart. This is a falling wedge, guys. This here is a falling wedge on the Digibyte BTC relativity chart, okay? It's wide up here, and it's getting more narrow down here. These technical patterns, and while there's no certainties, they have a tendency to move to the upside. I have the technical target drawn right up here. Again, keeping in mind what a relativity is, you're taking the Digibyte USD and dividing it by the Bitcoin USD. So if you think about that for a second, and I know a lot of you guys probably aren't good with fractions, but if you take a penny and you divide it by, say, $20,000, that's going to be a very small number, right? So you're looking at about 0.4 zeros and a 1 up here, okay? Once we break up into this area, it might be 0.4 zeros, a 1, and a 5. Okay, you can take that value and multiply it times Bitcoin to get your hypothetical value. But the first area that I'm sort of contemplating here that we could start to break up to, and I'll explain why I feel this way, is just up to the beginning of this falling wedge area right around there, okay? And that's close to a 200% gain against Bitcoin. Now, that's not a 200% gain in Digibyte. That is a 200% gain against Bitcoin. What do I mean by that? What I mean is it's a good thing if Bitcoin's USD value is increasing at 5%, 10%, 15, 20%, and it's increasing value as Digibyte USD is increasing in value, because what this is saying is this will outpace, Digibyte USD will outpace Bitcoin by 200%, okay? So the more that Bitcoin moves up in value, if this chart plays out at the same time, the bigger the gains will be in the USD value. Okay, and that's what I had tweeted out. You need to understand the big difference between a Digibyte USD chart and a Digibyte Bitcoin relativity chart. Very, very big distinction there. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out in this chart, again, this is a 2-month chart. I just want you to focus in the RSI. Again, when we've had the purple cross above the orange, okay, the last 2 times, you can see when the purple crossed above the orange, we got to move up to the top line. Purple crossed above the orange, move up to the top line. We've just gotten across. This monthly candle, this 2-month candlestick, will close this month. So is it possible by this month and maybe January, February, we could now see a push up to here, okay, which would represent close to a 200% gain relative to Bitcoin's performance. The other thing I wanted to quickly take a look at on this chart. Now, again, mind you, this formation was drawn, this falling wedge was drawn on a 2-month. So ignore the fact that the lines are going through the candlesticks right now. because that was drawn on a 2-month time frame. Let's look at a monthly real quick, actually. On the monthly, the one thing I wanted to point out to you is the MACD is beginning to cross up. You see this right here? I just want to focus on the MACD. The MACD is starting to turn green. The last few times we've turned green down here, large price move up, large price move up, okay? We were green here, large price move up, okay? So the MACD is turning green on the monthly. Let's go to the 2-week. What are we seeing on the 2-week? Well, on the 2-week, not only are we green, but we've been green for some time. And this trigger line, this 0, okay, getting above 0, this trigger line, we're getting closer and closer. This candlestick's going to close out this week. So if we can close positive on this chart, we're going to be very close to getting above 0. And in times past, when we've gotten above 0, we saw a huge move here. We saw moves back here too. Some of these big price moves up here, these big price moves up, you can see they were when the MACDs were above 0 and they were green, and we're getting very close to that time when the MACD is going to be above 0. So depending how this plays out, I'm looking at the MACD on the 2-week, depending when we can see that MACD get above 0 and be green, and then we come back to this 2-month chart, okay, that's kind of telling me when we could expect, okay, when we could expect the relativity to start hitting up towards these high values. Now, my anticipation, if I had to take an educated guess on what I personally could see playing out, I could see this relativity value coming up to this area, getting resistance. Maybe we wick a little above it, but get resistance. We kind of come down again, and we don't really start to potentially break out of the falling wedge more towards the latter half of next year, okay? And maybe it's even 2024, but more towards the latter half of next year. You guys know, if you've been subscribed here for a while, that I am in the small minority that believe that Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency market are going to create new all-time highs by next year. And if that happens, then I would anticipate that this falling wedge breakout, if it happens, would be towards the second half of 2023, maybe going into the early part of 2024. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I hope that you found this content helpful, the 3 charts that we took a look at. If you did find it helpful, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon for notifications, share this content with at least one person. And until next time, spread awareness and carry the education forward.
So what you gonna do, fiat dollar, on crypto bull god and his crypto maniacs and the entire cryptocurrency market run wild on you?